So, as I said, this is the third place game, meaning that the victor of this game will place third in the final standings, and the loser of this game will place fourth in the final standings. I would like to remind teams that according to Rule B7, electronic devices cannot be used for the duration of the match. That means computers or phones cannot be used to look up information or prior to submitting a protest, and that extends to all players and coaches as well. Audio and video recording of the match by spectators is also not permitted. On my left, from Dallas, Texas, we have St. Mark's School of Texas. St. Mark's is represented by the following players: Ethan Bosita. Sure. Aditya Shivaswamy. Arnav Lahoti. And Soham Suktankar. And St. Mark's team is coached by Paul Malacher and Shane May. We also have a fifth player on St. Mark's, Vardhan Anagotri. He will be sitting out for the first half of this match, but you may see him later. All right, and on my right, we have from Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, Hastings High School. Hastings High School is represented by the following players: Jacob Goldman Wetzler. Hazel DePriest Sullivan. Benny Feldman. And Owen Linder. And the moderator for this third place game will be Gannon Evans. And assisting Gannon in his moderating duties are Antonio Jimenez and Ramapriya. All right, good luck to both teams, and I will hand it over to Gannon for final instructions before we begin.
All right, I have the packet in front of me. I'm ready to go. Y'all ready? Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Best of luck to both teams. Here's toss-up number one. A 2023 paper by Otten and Splinter argues that this phenomenon's apparent shift in the U.S. since 1960 is explained in part by declining marriage rates. That paper disputes an analysis of this phenomenon based on data from the Panama Papers by Gabriel Zuckman. David Otter argues that computerization accelerated this phenomenon because skill-biased technological change has increased the education premium. That is
wealth inequality?
Yes, wealth inequality is it for 20. Your bonus. Kp, the equilibrium constant for a gas phase reaction, is calculated using these values instead of molarities for 10 points each. Name a measure of the concentration of a gas in a mixture. It is proportional, but not equal to mole fraction.
Molality? No. It's a partial pressure?
Yeah, actually.
Partial pressure.
Partial pressure is correct. The ratio between Kp and Kc is an integer power of this unit of molar energy. According to the ideal gas law, PV equals N times this term, usually abbreviated to two letters.
RT.
RT is correct. For non-ideal vapors, the partial pressures in Kp are also multiplied by this quantity. This quantity, symbolized phi, is the ratio between the pressures of an ideal gas and real gas that have the same chemical potential.
It's either activity coefficient or fugacity. I think it's fugacity.
Okay, differ.
Fugacity.
No, it is the fugacity coefficient, so 20 on the bonus. Here's toss-up 2. The narrator of this novel frequently attaches colors to memories, such as red to a couple's first meeting since the death of a pilot. A character in this novel smears his skin with charcoal to imitate Jesse Owens. The narrator of this...
The book thief.
The book thief is correct for 20. Your bonus. The jazz fusion band Apollo Stars was assembled on board the ships of this music producer's Sea Org. For 10 points each, name this person who inspired Philip Seymour Hoffman's character in Paul Thomas Anderson's film The Master.
It's the Scientology. Hubbard.
Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard's correct. Hubbard's album The Road to Freedom features songs by the Scientologist and actor. This man's career was revived with Pulp Fiction before being damaged again when he starred as Terry in a 2000 adaptation of Hubbard's novel Battlefield Earth.
John Travolta, probably. John Travolta directed.
Direct.
Yes. Dynamic Sessions feature In We Stand Tall, a work of this type starring Scientologist David Miscavige made in 1990. The cable channel MTV was originally devoted to airing these works.
Music videos directed?
Yeah, music videos is correct for 30. Here's toss-up 3. Legal pronouncements up to this emperor's reign were recorded in the Codex Gregorianus, which was expanded upon by Hermogenian, a prominent jurist in this emperor's court. The Edict of Serdica responded to a proclamation issued by this emperor on the festival of Terminalia, which resulted in a massacre in Nicomedia. This emperor brokered the first peace of Nisibis with the help of Galerius, his successor. Saints Domnius and Sebastian were martyred during the reign of this emperor, who ordered the Great Persecution. Diocletian's correct for 10. Your bonus. Leopold Godowsky wrote a Passacaglia based on this symphony for the 100th anniversary of his composer's death, for 10 points each. And it was B minor symphony by Franz Schubert that is nicknamed for the fact that he only completed 2 movements of it.
Unfinished.
Unfinished is correct. This composer died before writing the 4th movement of his 9th symphony. This Austrian organist's 4th symphony is nicknamed Romantic.
It starts with an H.
Need an answer?
No. Honecker.
What was that?
Honecker.
No, this is Bruckner. The only completed movement of an unfinished symphony by this composer became his symphonic rhapsody. This composer depicted choleric, phlegmatic, melancholic, and sanguine personalities in a symphony nicknamed The Four Temperaments.
Haydn.
No, this is Carl Nielsen. 10 on the bonus, here's toss-up 4. Each year, structures made out of this material and decorated with colored lights are constructed for a carnival in Saranac Lake, New York. A man builds a structure out of this material without a fourth wall in a pioneering work of docufiction by Robert J. Flaherty. Structures made from a type of this material called pukongayuk would often be settled by lighting a kulak oil lamp. An F. Scott Fitzgerald short story was inspired one of the palaces built from this
Diamond.
No.
Sorry,
I'll keep reading. Built from this material each year in St. Paul, bricks of this material are laid in ascending circular fashion in structures that might also have beds made from caribou fur. For 10 points, name this material whose bricks are used to construct igloos.
Ice.
Ice is correct for 10. Your bonus. Tashmop the First was the dedicatee of an illuminated manuscript of this text that contains miniatures of Rostam taking an apple as horse fights a lion. For 10 points each. Ferdowsi wrote what book of Kings that recounts the reigns of Sassanid kings like Shapur?
Shahnameh, direct.
Yes, Shahnameh is it. In a miniature from Thomas I Shahnameh, Isfandiyar slays this type of creature, also slain by St. George in European folklore.
Dragon, direct.
Dragon's correct. This despotic dragon king is chained within Mount Damavand in another miniature. Ahriman kisses the shoulders of this king, spawning 2 brain-eating snakes.
Wait. Ahak, direct.
Zahak is correct, or Azi Dahak. 30 on the bonus, here's toss-up 5. In a city in this country, expensive churches have been built by entrepreneurial boss Christians who promote a managerial style based on biblical values. Self-governance, self-support, and self-propagation underlie this country's Protestant 3 self-churches, which stand up... China's in for 20.
Good buzz.
Your bonus. In this novel, a character simultaneously drowns and baptizes his cousin Bishop, who has Down syndrome. For 10 points each, name this novel which the evangelical Mason Tarwater kidnaps his nephew Francis and requests a proper Christian burial so he can be resurrected on Judgment Day.
I don't even know the author.
Need an answer?
Defer.
Sula.
This is The Violent Bear It Away. The Violent Bear It Away is one of 2 novels by the Southern Gothic author of A Good Man is Hard to Find. Flannery O'Connor said, Tanner has a stroke in the story Judgment Day, the final entry in this O'Connor collection. In this collection's title story, Julian's mother is assaulted after trying to give a penny to a young black boy.
Everything that rises must converge. Direct.
Everything that rises must converge is it for 20.
Would you mind reading a little slower?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's toss-up 6. Pauline Verideau sang this role in Hector Berlioz's 1859 version of one opera. In that French version, this character states, "I have lost," instead of asking in the original Italian, "What will I do without?" or "Che farò senza?" In another opera, the personification of hope abandons this character who sings Possente Spiritu. This man's lover titles the earliest surviving opera by Jacopo Peri.
Orpheus?
Yeah, Orpheus is it for
Nice.
10.
It's just nice.
Your bonus. Since 1858, the French government has owned Longwood House on this island for 10 points each, named this island where one resident may have been poisoned by arsenic wallpaper in 1821.
St. Helena Direct.
St. Helena's it. Ka Setsuayo, an heir to the kingdom of this people, was exiled to St. Helena in 1889 after being convicted of treason. The South African people's other leaders included Shaka.
Zulu Direct.
Zulu is correct. After being released from a POW camp on St. Helena, Boer War General Piet Cronje spent time as a circus general in the sideshow in this American location. Some of the first baby incubators were installed at this location, also home to Luna Park.
Oh, Coney Island. Sure, yeah. Coney Island.
Coney Island is it for 30.
30.
Here's toss-up 7. These molecules are industrially fermented by Corynebacterium glutamicum. The herbicide Roundup blocks the synthesis of these molecules via the shikimate pathway. Tryptone is added to
The amino acids.
20 amino
I
acids.
love it.
Your bonus. The Laplace transform of a dynamical system's response to this type of signal is this transfer function for 10 points each. Name this type of signal that shares the same with a quantity that equals the time integral of force in the change in momentum.
Impulse. Defer. Impulse.
Impulse is it. The output of a linear time-invariant system equals this operation on the input and its impulse response. This operation's namesake theorem generalizes the fact that applying it in the time domain is equivalent to multiplication in the frequency domain.
Convolution.
Defer.
Convolution.
Convolution's it. The impulse response is the system's response to an input of a function named for this Greek letter that generally denotes change.
Delta.
Delta is it for 30.
Let's go.
Here's toss-up 8. Use of these objects can be characterized by attitudes like upper, middle, and lower according to the Book of Five Rings. The demon of the western provinces is depicted holding one of these objects in a statue on Ganryojima. One of these objects was legendarily lost forever after Taira no Tokiko jumped into the ocean.
A sword.
A sword is it for 20.
Yeah, that's the Susanoo.
Your bonus. This movement's manifesto was written by Hugo Ball, who wore a shaman suit to perform his sound poem Karawane for 10 points each. Named as post-World War I anti-art movement, whose name may be derived from Richard Holstenbeck's random choice of a French term for hobby horse. Members of this movement include Marcel Duchamp. Dada's it for 10. Oh wait, I'll keep going for the bonus. Holstenbeck in this Dadaist pioneer performances in which multiple people simultaneously read poems in different languages. This Romanian played an eyebrow in his play The Gas Heart.
Romanian. It's Zara.
You already had UNESCO?
It's Zara.
Go with
Romanian.
that, go with that.
Zara.
Zara is it.
Nice.
A Zara play is named for a handkerchief of these objects, which make the sound gluglamin gluglada in a ball poem. In the play, a chorus of these objects appears at the thinkery.
A chorus of
birds.
Clouds.
Clouds,
or
clouds.
Birds. Birds?
Clouds. It's clouds. It's clouds.
Can you answer?
Clouds.
Clouds is it for 30. Here's toss-up 9. This character sings a song about a giant flea while in Auerbach's wine cellar. The actor and Nazi co-operator Hendrik Hofgen portrays this character in a Klaus Mann novel. This character,
Mephistopheles.
Mephistopheles, is it for
Nice.
20.
That makes sense. That's nice.
Your bonus. Gauchos hired to work on Argentinian estancias would use bolas to prevent these animals from fleeing for 10 points each. The introduction of barbed wire limited the need for gauchos to help herd what animals for use in food?
Cows.
Cows is it. Argentina's beef industry greatly benefited from a 1933 treaty signed by Walter Runciman in this president. Before becoming president, this general carried out the conquest of the desert.
Rosas. I don't know.
Defer.
Rosas.
I have Julio Roca. This indigenous people of Patagonia resisted the conquest of the desert. Lautaro once led these inhabitants of Araucania, who also used bolas during Malone cattle racing into Spanish.
I think it's the Yagan.
Okay, defer.
Yagan?
No, it's the Mapuche.
Oh,
10 on the bonus, here's toss-up 10, after which we'll have half. Chromatofocusing slowly changes this quantity in the stationary phase to fractionate proteins. The distribution of oxidation state versus this quantity is plotted on a metal speciation diagram. Tertiary amines only dissolve if this quantity is low enough for the nitrogen to be...
pH.
pH is it for 20.
Let's go.
I'm getting carried.
Your bonus.
And I'm chill.
And something about the Italian Renaissance's craze for grottos for 10 points each. Visitors to Cosimo's I Via de Costello explored a grotto dedicated to alchemy before viewing this artist's paintings like The Birth of Venus and Primavera in the House.
Yes.
Botticelli direct.
Botticelli said. Study of Lake Arno's fossil shoreline inspired the grotto in the background of this Leonardo da Vinci painting of Mary and Uriel watching over an infant Jesus and John the Baptist.
This is
Need an answer?
Adana, of the rocks?
Madonna of the Rocks is it. The sponge-like Buon Talenti Grotto appears next to the entrance of a corridor named for this artist who designed it in the rest of the Uffizi Gallery. This artist was the first to use the term Rinascita, which is later translated as Renaissance.
I want to say...
Need an answer?
Vasari.
Yeah, Vasari's
Nice.
230. And that's half.
What a half.
I have a score of 230 for St. Mark's, 180 for Hastings.
That was clean play. Holy.
All right, both teams, are you ready to keep going?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, best of luck. Here's toss-up 11. This work's composer said its fifth movement was his favorite as it not only brings physical decay but also a vision of fulfillment. Trombones introduced the B minor melody in that movement of this work, which features a ticking theme. At his last Young People's concert, Leonard Bernstein improvised an unpredictable extra movement of this work. The Halley Orchestra...
The Four Seasons.
No, I'll keep reading. The Halley Orchestra commissioned Colin Matthews to write a new movement of this piece, partly titled The Renewer. This work opens with con legno strings playing an ominous ostinato in 5/4. One movement in this work was adapted into the hymn I Vow to Thee My Country and is subtitled The Bringer of Jollity. For 10 points, name a suite by Gustav Holst inspired by astrology.
Planets.
The Planets is it for 10. Your bonus. Defying cell biology dogma, CFTR bypasses this organelle entirely and is secreted directly from the ER to the membrane. For 10 points each, name is astoundingly poorly understood organelle that performs nebulous tasks like protein sorting and packaging.
Golgi apparatus.
Golgi apparatus is it. Common theory holds that proteins ride along with the cisternae as they undergo this progression from the cis to trans Golgi. This general term also names the promitotic complex of cyclin B and CDK1.
Oh. It moves through from cis to trans.
Yeah, what is it called?
Packaging.
Need an answer?
Packaging?
No, I have maturation. Cisternal maturation will require proteins to spend a fixed time inside the Golgi, but they don't, according to FRAP experiments using this reporter protein derived from Aquaria victoria.
Defer.
What was the direct?
GFP.
GFP is it for 20. Here's toss-up 12. The SLDN, which was founded to oppose this policy, called for an investigation as to whether this policy led to the murder of Barry Winchell. Following legislation passed in 2010, Robert Gates led efforts to end this policy, which was also challenged that year in a court case brought by the Log Cabin Republicans. At least 73 DLI linguists specializing in Middle Eastern languages were fired due to this policy. This policy was implemented after Colin Powell argued...
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't
Nice.
tell is it for 10. Your bonus. The original text of this collection is lost in the sinking of the Titanic at the end of Amin Malouf's novel Samarkand. For 10 points each, name this collection of quatrains by Omar Khayyam, one of which opens "The moving finger writes and having writ moves on."
Rubaiyat.
Rubaiyat is it. In Edward Fitzgerald's translation, this specific object is paired in a Khayyam quatrain with a book of verses, a loaf of bread, and thou.
Jug of wine. A jug of wine.
A jug of wine is it. Initially not known for his poetry, Khayyam and the Rubaiyat were promoted and popularized by this group. A member of this group described the sonnet as a moment's monument in the sequence The House of Life.
Probably the PRB. I don't know.
Need an answer?
The pre-Raphaelite brother.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's it for 30. Toss-up. Timeout? Oh, okay. Here's toss-up 13. The conditions for high values of this quantity are created via synergistic combination of sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and ammonia via a mechanism discovered by a team at CERN in 2022. Opposite extremes of this quantity distinguish groups A and B in the Koppen classification.
Precipitation.
I will prompt by asking, what type of precipitation?
Like rain.
Yeah,
Okay.
for 20.
That's a wild
Your bonus. That was a 20.
Yes.
Hanseatic ships returning from Iceland sold a prize variety of these animals which made their way to Arabia. For 10 points each, name these birds which medieval kings used in a sport where they would hunt other animals.
falcons.
Yeah. Falcon.
Falcon is it. This group gifted ger falcons to kings and popes after training them in Marienburg Castle. Vitautas the Great defeated this group at the 1410 Battle of Grunwald.
So Vitautas was Lithuanian.
The Teutonic Knights.
Okay.
Defer.
Teutonic Knights.
That's it, Teutonic Knights. Ger falcons were associated with kings in a manual on hunting, fishing, and falconry named after this town. Historians often mark the start of the Wars of the Roses to a 1455 Yorkist victory in this town, where Henry VI was released after a second battle.
Staffordshire. I don't know.
Defer.
Staffordshire.
This is St. Albans. It's 20 on the bonus. Here's toss-up 14. A character destroys several of these objects after claiming to be a hired assassin is calling his mother an ugly, babbling old witch. These objects sit on an old-fashioned whatnot overshadowed by a photo of a doughboy and behind a transparent...
The glass menagerie, like the animal.
Yeah, nice, stop talking.
The answer line is glass menagerie. You get 20 points. Your bonus. Migrants are described as a huddled camouflage moving past this place's scummed cliffs in a Dulcet Nagra poem. For 10 points each, name this place. Nagra's poem's epigraph, so various, so beautiful, so new, comes from a Matthew Arnold poem set on a beach at this place.
Dover. Okay. Dover.
Dover's it. The title of Nagra's poem alludes to this poet's collection, Look, We Have Come Through. This author described a man pausing in the shade of a tree after seeing the poem's title, Snake in a Trough.
Snake in a trough. Was it Dickinson? Oh yeah, a snake in the grass.
Dickinson.
Oh no, this is D.H. Lawrence. Nagra's poem describes the moon spotlight banking on the miracle of sun instead of using this adjective, which in Arnold's poem describes a plain where ignorant armies clash by night.
Darkling.
Darkling is it for 20. Here's toss-up 15. A giant steel funnel by this artist, often compared to a vagina, was installed in the gardens of Versailles and is titled Dirty Corner. Ford named a colored trim after the shades of red this artist used for the blood of his kinetic sculpture shooting into the corner. A large stainless steel installation by this artist is titled Sky Mirror. This artist has been criticized for his exclusive rights to the... Kapoor is it for 10. Your bonus. Fueled by resentment, the lower classes used this word to describe the aristocracy during the slave revolt and morality. For 10 points each, name the second title concept of a book subtitled Prelude to a Philosophy of the Future, whose sequel traces this concept's origin to Judeo-Christian morals.
What?
Need an answer?
Fidelity.
No, this is evil. This philosopher contrasted bad and evil in the genealogy of morals. He also wrote Beyond Good and Evil and also Sprach Zarathustra. Nietzsche's it. Beyond Good and Evil criticizes the dogmatic value placed on this concept, asking the reader to recognize its opposite as a condition of life. The book opens by asking, suppose this concept is a woman. What then?
Suppose like truth or like something like that. So it might be
Need an answer?
truth.
Truth is it for 20.
Come on, let's go.
Toss-up 16. Elizabeth II was almost tricked into giving a speech opposing this cause by a DJ at CKOI. A politician who had opposed this cause was heckled out of a stadium for showing a so-called Elliot side to the audience. Successfully carrying out this cause was made more difficult by the passage of the Clarity Act in 2000.
Brexit?
No. Keep reading. The Cree population heavily rejected this cause in a 1995 referendum. A group that advocated for this cause kidnapped James Cross, sparking the October Crisis. A speech advocating this cause at Expo 67 by Charles de Gaulle prompted Lester Pearson to respond that his countrymen do not need to be liberated. For 10 points, name this cause that advocates the separation of a French-speaking province from Canada.
The independence of Quebec.
Yes,
Nice.
Quebec independence is it for 10. Your bonus. The Aharonov-Bohm, or AB effect, shows the physicality of these functions. For 10 points each, name these two functions that are combined into a four-vector denoted A super alpha. The negative gradient and curl of these functions, respectively, gives the E and B fields. You can give the words shared by their names.
Cross product and dot product, right?
Oh, wait.
Defer.
Cross product and dot product?
No, I have potential.
Oh, okay.
The potentials. The AB effect was first observed with these devices that generate uniform magnetic fields described by the equation B equals mu naught N I over L.
Solenoids.
Defer.
Solenoids.
Solenoids is right. Solenoid-shaped Dirac strings, which connect these objects, may carry out the AB effect. Gauss's law for magnetism forbids these objects that feature only a north or south end.
Magnetic monopoles.
Monopoles is it for 20. Here's toss-up 17. Schopenhauer rejected this idea on the basis that it reduces to self-interested egoism. Section 3 of one work argues that this idea is the law of a will that is positively free, a definition taken up by Christine Korsgaard in the Sources of Normativity. This idea is presented via four equivalent formulas, like the formula of humanity and the formula of autonomy. Benjamin Constant's objection to this idea argues it would compel one to tell a murderer the
imperative.
Yes, for 10. Your bonus. The Mohawk, Onondaga, Oneida, Cayuga, and Seneca banded together to form this confederacy for 10 points each. Yes, it is debated whether this founding oral constitution of the Haudenosaunee recorded on wampum belts influenced the U.S. Constitution.
It's like the thing that just made them like have a like it's something treaty.
Yeah.
Need an answer?
Longhouse Treaty.
It's called the Great Law of Peace. The name of the Haudenosaunee refers to how they lived in these dwellings, which also lend their name to an indigenous religious movement started by Handsome Lake.
This is Longhouse.
Right.
The people of Longhouse.
I think so.
Yeah.
Longhouse, direct?
Yeah, for 20.
Could we get a score check really quickly?
Absolutely. Going into 18, I have a score of 410 for St. Mark's, 240 for Hastings.
Same, yeah.
Okay, okay, great.
Here's the question. Prior to this city's founding, a king declared war on a people who used his daughter's skin as a priest skirt. A 16th century CE pictographic map depicts the journey towards the city from a northern place of herons, once settled by a people who emerged from 7 caves. Coppel's heart...
Tenochtitlan.
Tenochtitlan is it for 20.
He's him.
Your bonus. The cover of Pink Floyd's album Animals depicts an Art Deco one of these facilities constructed in the brick cathedral style for 10 points each. Name these industrial facilities, one of which was designed by J. Theo Halliday and Giles Gilbert Scott. In 1995, Herzog and de Moiren won a contest to redevelop one of these facilities in Bankside.
A factory.
Director.
No, it's a power station. Herzog and de Moiren converted the Bankside Power Station to this British art museum where installations such as Ai Weiwei's sunflower seeds were displayed in its turbine hall.
I don't know, like Tate Modern or something? Tate Modern?
Say again?
Tate Modern?
Yes, Tate Modern's did. Along with Norman Foster, this architect designed apartment buildings for the 2012 redevelopment of the Battersea Power Station. This Canadian architect designed the Walt Disney Concert Hall.
Gary.
Gary's it for 20. And here's toss-up 19. These devices mimic interferometers in Aronson and Archipov's boson sampling problem. These devices can perform an analog of simulated annealing via slow evolution of the Hamiltonian that makes them adiabatic. Andrew Steen developed a scheme that avoids constraints imposed on these devices by the no-cloning theorem.
Quantum computers.
Quantum computers is it for 20. And your bonus. A New York Times investigation found that the CIA purchased this software for the government of Djibouti for 10 points each. The name is spyware software developed by Israel's NSO group. It's not Galileo, but this software was likely used to hack Jeff Bezos' iPhone in 2020.
I don't know.
Freebird.
You answer? What was that?
Freebird.
No, this is Pegasus. Opposition parties in this country alleged that Pegasus was used by its Law and Justice Party during a 2019 election. In 2023, Donald Tusk defeated the PIS to become prime minister of this country. Poland is it. The Times investigation found that this man's administration was the biggest purchaser of Pegasus, ostensibly to fight drug cartels. This Mexican president will be succeeded by Claudia Sheinbaum.
AMLO.
Say again?
AMLO.
Yes. Lopez Obrador, AMLO, is it for 20. And here's toss-up 20. In a story by this author, a character in the midst of translating a work by Jose Norberto Allende begins imagining seeing a woman's hands move. In a novel by this author, 2 men build a bridge between their windows as a way to deliver yerba and nails. The narrator in one of this author's stories... Cortazar is it for 20.
Let's go.
Guys, I didn't get 4-0'd. We're so back. we're so back.
Your bonus. Thai Buddhists wrap ribbons or hang dresses from these objects as an offering to Nang Ta Kyan for 10 points each. Name these plants. Tartar myths represent their axis mundi connecting the heavens and the earth as these plants is world variety.
Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, trees is it. Tapa Ngalong practitioners hang from trees to meditate in this island's folk religion of Kejawen. Borobudur, the world's largest Buddhist temple, is located on this island.
It's in Indonesia, so let's
low
say
key it's Java, I think.
Fine.
Or no,
Any answer?
Say Java, direct.
Low key, it is Java. The last part. The Apsaras and Gandharvas of Hindu myth perform this activity from trees. The Buddha taught that the pure land is created through this action which softened people's hearts.
Like, I mean,
The dance.
I mean, like,
Need an answer?
Meta.
what?
Meta.
Dance.
No, I have music.
Okay.
So that's
What
20.
does bro say?
Love and kindness.
Final score, 490 St. Mark's, 280 Hastings. Congratulations.
My worst of the entire tournament.